Hey everybody, how are you? As luck would have it, I'm getting a little bit of shop time today. So I've been working over here. Let me flip you around and show you what I'm working on. I've got a new blank on the lathe, and you can see I've already threaded it. This is once again threaded 3/8 16 teeth per inch. I really want to go 24 to get some finer TPI, but the issue is I've already made a mandrel for 16, and since I'm just practicing, I'm not actually building a final nib yet. I'm just going to continue to use that mandrel for now, and when I get ready to make a final nib, when I think I've got everything dialed in, I'll build me a new mandrel for 3/8 24. These marks you see here, from the edge of this mark to the inside edge of this mark is the nib section. That's where I need to start taking some metal away. So I'm getting ready to flip this around. I know it's going to be hard to see, but I've already drilled my holes. The large hole is for, well, let me just grab a blank and show you. Sorry, I called it a blank. I'm in an ink refill, but it's already been drilled to accept this. And that's what these measurements are. That nib sticks out just beyond that mark. So whenever I angle that down to form the shape of my nib, my ink refill, my Parker refill, is all ready to seat in there. The first thing I did was drill the larger hole that is a little larger than the diameter of the refill. And I drilled it in a certain distance. I believe it's, well, let's show you. It's about right there is how far I drilled it in. So about 17.5 millimeters, I think, give or take. And then I drilled the rest of the way with a smaller bit that is a little larger than this diameter so that can pop through the end of the nib. So I'm at the point now where I'm getting ready to flip this around, to put it on the mandrel, and start shaping the nib. Wow, I've had a heck of a day in the shop today. I'm on my third nib. Each one had a problem, but that's the idea, and my notes have changed quite a bit. This is the first one that I was working on, and see how, and really, there's the threads there. That is still a 24, 3/8 24, and I was starting to angle this down and realized that I was having an issue with the bit I was using. So I swapped out to another bit, made another nib. There's the threads on that, still 16 threads. And the new bit cut way too aggressively. Also, I didn't have my angle set properly. Then I came back and, shucks, where did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Made a custom tool, and this is the angle that I've got. I was just experimenting on just a piece of aluminum. Real happy with that angle. That's exactly what I want for my nibs. So I figured out how to do that, and I've got extensive notes on it. Then I went back and I made this, and I don't know how well you can see the threads in there. This is a 3/8 24 TPI mandrel. Then I made a 3/8 24 TPI nib, and I don't know where in the heck it's at. Oh, it's under the lathe. Didn't work out real well. So I thought, okay, I'll make another one. I said I made 3. I actually made 4. Let me show you the 4th one. But take a look at that. Somehow, I was to the point where this is ready to be have a die run on it. And I noticed that I did not drill down the center, whoops, of my nib. So I don't know how I did that. But anyway, I've got great notes. I think I've got all the pieces figured out now. It's just a matter of taking my time and doing one from start to finish. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be tomorrow. I've had about enough today. I've been bent over this lathe for several hours. Back is really bothering me standing on this floor, bent over that lathe. So I think I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to go in, take my notes, and I'm going to refine them and get them in a nice, neat fashion where they're very readable, and then I continue to build on them. But the cuts I'm making and the measurements have been repeatable time and time again, so I think I'm doing something right. The other thing I've got to do is I need like a HDPE or a UHMW or Delrin bushing of some kind. And by bushing, really like a washer, just a real small, thin piece that I can put between the nib and the mandrel. Because one of the things I'm having trouble with is as you're turning your nib, it really twists it into the mandrel. And it's tough to get out. And I don't want to damage it getting it out. So I thought if I was to put like a HDPE washer on there, just a real thin one, heck, I could just cut right through that with the tool, no issue at all. And it would also allow me to remove it very easily. So I need to work on that. But man, I've made a lot of progress. I've learned quite a bit. I'm super happy with what I've learned today. And I'm the more I work with it, the more excited I get about how it's going to turn out. I think the last thing I'll do, I think I am going to go ahead and tap this, even though it's off center. I'm going to run the tap or the die up it. I mean, put threads on it. So I'll run the die up it just to test it, because what I found is I've got this chart on the wall from Seco, and I'm using that, and it said for 3/8 24, it should be about, it should be 0.3320 inches, right? And when I took it to 0.3320 and I threaded it threaded really easy, but the threads aren't real deep. And if you look inside, it told me to use a Q-bit to tap the inside of the mandrel, which is what I use, and those threads are really well defined and really tall. So I backed off a little bit, and I made it, instead of 0.3320, I made it 0.34. So we're going to see if I can cut a deeper thread. That may be a hair too big, but like I said, this is why I'm doing this. I'm going to keep making nibs until I can make a really nice one, and then I'm going to attempt to repeat it. And if I can repeat maybe 1 or 2 nibs, I'm ready to move on to the next phase. So I will keep you guys posted. Thanks for hanging out with me, and maybe I'll be back out here tomorrow. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Take care. Bye.